Hey, this is Evan with Simple South Central Florida. We're back for our monthly Q&A where we answer some commonly asked questions from our clients that we work with throughout Central Florida. Um, just to have a little introduction to Simple Sale, we buy distressed properties throughout Central Florida. We bring transparency and accountability to distressed home sales in an industry where a lot of buyers are there's a lot of predatory tactics that are done in the industry in order to purchase distressed properties, and we work with our clients to be transparent and accountable throughout the process. We buy properties throughout Central Florida, from Tampa to Titusville to Orlando, and anywhere in between. Um, and we'll get going. We have 10 or so questions here to go through, and we'll go on to the first question. First one: I inherited a house with my siblings, but we can't agree on what to do with it. What can we do? So we see these situations a lot, where there's multiple siblings and they don't know what to do with it. And depending upon how serious the disagreement is, sometimes properties never get sold because siblings can't agree. But in some situations they do. And a lot of it is just communication between the siblings, and we can help facilitate a lot of that. Also, there are legal actions you can take in order to sell a distressed property, but that's not the preferred method of the preferred route. You would much rather just have a good dialogue between the siblings and figure out what the issues are and what the differences are, in order to get the distressed property sold. But if you do go the legal route, it's like a 6 or 12 month process in which you essentially go to a judge and request that they sell the property for you. And it does, like I said, take time, 6 to 12 months, and can be costly with lawyers as well. But typically the easiest way is to just communicate with all the siblings and come to an agreement. Okay, next question. Can I sell my rental property as is? Yes, of course. Rental property, with or without tenants, you can sell those properties with no problem. Typically, if it does have tenants, then there's going to be requests for leases, proof of rent being paid, and things of that nature. But you can absolutely sell your rental property as is in its current condition to a cash buyer. That's not an issue at all. The issue would become if you had a tenant that was not paying rent and refused to leave. Then the property becomes a lot less desirable. But still, in our experience, you can still definitely sell that property. We've bought properties like that. The problem becomes the risk that the buyer has to take will reduce the price of the property, so you won't be able to sell the property for as much as if the property was completely vacant. So you can absolutely sell your rental property as is. The next question: can I sell a condemned property? You absolutely can sell condemned properties. We've bought many condemned properties, condemned typically due to code violations, or code violations, unsafe living conditions, typically things of that nature will lead to a property becoming condemned, but you can absolutely sell it in that condition. Typically, there's going to be legal issues that you have to figure out that comes with it being condemned, but there shouldn't be an issue. It is probably less desirable for a buyer, the fact that it is condemned, but it doesn't mean that you can't sell it. The next question we have is, I'm in pre-foreclosure, but I don't know what to do because of the moratorium. Do you have any advice? So if you are in pre-foreclosure and your mortgage is insured by the federal government, then the moratorium as of right now ends for you at the end of this year. If you're in that situation, I would highly suggest you figure out how to A, sell the property, or B, get the mortgage current. If you get the mortgage current, obviously you don't have any more issues. If that isn't an option, then you would definitely want to sell the property so you don't get into a situation where the foreclosure ruins your credit. So having a plan on when you want to get the property sold is imperative. And you have, at this point, 45 or so days to get that property sold. So I would highly recommend figuring out a plan to sell it or become current on the mortgage. Once the moratorium is lifted, the bank will have the right to foreclose on the property and ruin your credit, and you'll lose your property. I would say in a lot of situations, if you sell your property before that point, you're going to get a lot more money for it. Once a property goes to foreclosure auction, you probably won't get anything out of it, depending on how much money is left on your mortgage. So yeah, the biggest thing is, figuring out if it's possible for you to become current. If not, then figuring out a plan to sell it. Okay. Next question. I feel like my house is taking over my life and I just don't want to deal with it. Can you help me? So we do work with a lot of clients that are at that point of where they've had a property for a long period of time and it's become a burden to them. And they just want to get rid of it. They want to get rid of the problems. I think you don't just see cases like that for people with houses. It's their house, it's their car, it's whatever. If it just becomes a constant problem for whatever reason, you would rather get rid of it than continue to deal with the issues. And typically in those situations, it's just better to sell it and get rid of the stress because it's not worth the stress that it's putting on you. What we can help you do is we can purchase that property, or we can help you list that property and get it sold, depending on your situation and your property. So we can absolutely help you with those situations, and it's not uncommon. It is quite common to see people who have gotten to that situation with their property, but it's not anything unusual, and it's not anything to be embarrassed about, for sure. So yes, we can absolutely help you, without a doubt. Next question. Do you charge any fees for handling my property's problems? No, we don't. In a lot of scenarios, we end up helping the person with their situation, and we don't end up working together for whatever reason. The person may be just trying to figure out even what their situation is. and we help them figure it out, and then maybe we don't end up working together. But our goal was bringing transparency and accountability to distressed home sales. So if we can help someone, and even though we don't work with the client, we're still continuing the mission of the company, and that's okay with us. So no, we don't charge any fees. So we give that sort of consulting and specialist information away for free. And in a lot of scenarios, those people may not work with us, but also some of them do work with us. So it's just part of the mission of the company. Fees that you can typically think about are, legal advice from lawyers, or possibly fixing up your property or doing something with your property. In terms of legal issues, like liens, figuring out what the real situation is with those. We can definitely help you through all that, and with no fees at all. Okay, next question. I live in another state. Can I sell you a house I own without having to go there? So yeah, we have definitely dealt with situations where the person is out of state, and in a lot of cases they'll just mail us a key and we go look at the property, and see if it's something that we can help them out with. That's really the easiest way to do it. Is we've just talked with people based on what they told us. We've given them an estimated offer, and if we are on the same page from there, we'll sign a contract and they'll mail us the key, and we'll work to move forward and close on the property. So no, you absolutely do not have to be in the state. You don't have to show up for closings. It can all be done remotely. So you absolutely don't have to go there. It can all be done remotely. I want to sell my house in Fort Lauderdale. Can you still help me? So we would definitely consider looking at the property. We're currently just focusing on Central Florida, but we would definitely look at it, and we could help you with your situation and then still possibly buy the property. It would really just depend on your situation in particular, but we would definitely consider it. But it's not our core area at the moment. And we also can help you list the property as well, and possibly help you work with someone in the Fort Lauderdale area that may be more convenient. Are there any problems you can't work with? There are very few problems that you can't work with, or that we can't work with. In most situations, we can figure out the problem. I would say, honestly, most of the reasons that we don't work with people is just it's an emotion, maybe an emotional issue or a price issue. But as far as legal problems, or problems with the property, in very few situations have we ever not been able to figure them out. I mean, we've found people that couldn't be found, that needed to sign a deed. We've worked through probates with seven heirs, some of which didn't know each other, and we found them. So we can figure out most problems with the house or the legal issues, but a lot of times the problems are really the person doesn't know if they want to sell or not, or they want a price for it that's just not attainable, and that's absolutely okay. That's their choice, but it's just what we've noticed over time. But as far as any issues that we can tackle from a legal standpoint, we almost always figure them out. How fast can you buy my home? So we actually had a comment from a guy on our team, Dante. He said, how long would it take to close on the property once the contract is signed? And how fast can you buy my home? That, in a sense, are similar questions. So from the point of signing the contract, in a lot of our experiences, it's 30 days or less. I would say 89% of the time it's 30 days or less. And a lot of the time it's like 21 days. But almost always it's 30 days or less. If we haven't closed in 30 days, then it's a legal issue that we're trying to figure out. And we're at the mercy of the municipality, whatever county or city that it may be in. We're ordering documents. We're working with lawyers to figure out the issue. But if it's a simple transaction where there aren't legal issues, there's no reason we go more than 3 weeks really in almost any situation. So 30 days or less is 80-90% of the time. So if your situation appears to be small legal issues or no legal issues, then you can expect to be closed in 30 days or less. Okay. That was the last question. As always, any other questions? I know Dante had a question. I think we just answered it from the last question there, but how long would it take to close on a property once the contract is signed? It's going to be 30 days or less. A lot of times, around that 3-week mark is pretty common. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome, Dante. Glad you came on. So if there's any other questions, we're going to go ahead and close this one out. This is our November Q&A. As always, we buy properties throughout Central Florida, Orlando, Titusville, Tampa, so Brevard County, Orange County, Pinellas County, Hillsborough County, Ocala, Kissimmee. We really, anywhere in Central Florida we consider, and not to mention like the Gainesville area, we also look there. So if you have a property in one of those areas, we can absolutely take a look and see if we're a good fit. If we are, then it's what we call 3 simple steps. We'll talk about the property with you online, or we'll talk about the property with you either via phone or email. We'll get information from you. We'll give you an estimated offer. That's the first step. If we are on the same page with price for the estimated offer, if we're on the same page and we're in the ballpark, then we will come and do a walkthrough of the property, typically within 24 hours, and make sure that the property is in the condition that we discussed. And then from there, that's the second step. And the third step would be making the offer and getting closed. So just 3 simple steps. We like to keep it as simple as possible. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to go to our website, simplesalescentralflorida.com. You can call us at 407-338-4183. So that's it for this month, and we'll catch you next month. Thanks, everybody.